The red sky of planet Luria 9 burned with quiet sadness. The wind was dry, carrying the smell of dust and old memories. Near the edge of a silver forest, an alien mother named Serene knelt beside a small grave. Her hands, covered in soft blue skin that shimmered like light water, trembled as she touched the cold stone. The name on the grave was written in the curved language of her people. Leor, my bright star. Her only child. Serene had cried for 7 moons since the sickness came. It had swept through their colony without warning, stealing the young and weak. The healers could not stop it. And when Leor's breath had stopped, Serene felt her world fall apart. Every day since then she came here to speak to the silence. She brought small glowing flowers, luma petals, and placed them by the stone. The petals floated gently in the air, glowing with soft blue light like spirits that refused to rest. "Sleep well, my light," she whispered. Her voice broke and her eyes filled with silver tears. "I will find you again in the next sky." But Luria 9 was not silent today. Far beyond the forest, a strange ship had fallen from the stars. It was made of iron and smoke, not like the crystal crafts of the Lurians. This one was rough, dark, and loud. A ship built by humans. The crash had gone unnoticed by the alien colony, but not by Serene. She looked up, hearing a faint echo in the sky, a metallic cry followed by silence. She turned her head and saw a thin trail of smoke rising above the mountains. For a long moment she stood still. Then she whispered, "The sky bleeds today." She didn't know that the crash would change everything. In the wreckage of the ship, Commander Elias Ward, a human explorer, woke up to the taste of smoke and blood. His mission had been to chart the border planets for the Galactic Council. But an unexpected storm, a magnetic wave from Luria 9's twin sun, had pulled his ship down. He stumbled out of the wreck, coughing. The air was heavy but breathable. Around him were strange glowing plants, and the soil sparkled like powdered glass. He looked at the horizon and whispered to himself, "So this is Luria 9. Elias checked his scanner. No other humans within 100 light years. He was alone. But as his radar blinked, a faint life signal appeared. Weak. Fading. Not human. He frowned. That's odd. There's something, or someone, alive nearby. Without thinking, he started walking toward it. Back at the grave, Serene placed her hand on the stone one last time. She felt the wind shift, gentle but strange. It carried a new scent. Metal and fire. Something foreign. Something alive. She turned toward the mountains, her heart uneasy. Her people had warned her. Never go near the edge of the forest. Beyond it were old ruins. Forbidden lands touched by the humans long ago during the Great War. But she felt something call to her. A voice deep inside whispered, "Go." And so, Serene walked. As night fell on Luria 9, 2 lives, 1 alien mother, 1 human soldier, moved toward each other through the glowing forest. Neither knew what waited ahead. Neither knew that beneath the cold earth, in a hidden underground chamber, a small heartbeat had begun again, tiny, soft, weak, but alive. Something stirred in the darkness below the grave, where machines older than memory had awakened. A small pod made of light and crystal opened slowly. Inside was a child, blue-skinned, eyes flickering with soft light. Leor. The child gasped softly, the first breath after death. The machines hummed as if proud of their creation. Above, Serene whispered her child's name to the stars. And somewhere between her grief and Elias's crash, destiny began to move. The silver forest glowed under the dim red sky. Every leaf shimmered like glass and the air hummed softly, as if the planet itself was alive. Commander Elias Ward walked carefully through it, holding a small scanner that blinked weakly in his hand. His boots crunched on crystal soil. Behind him, smoke from his crashed ship still rose in the distance. He was injured, a cut across his forehead, a bruised shoulder, but his eyes were full of determination. He had survived worse. What mattered now was the faint life signal that appeared on his screen. The signal was strange. The pattern didn't match any known species in the galactic database. It pulsed like a heartbeat, then stopped, then started again. Elias frowned. "Is it a life form or a machine?" he whispered to himself. He followed the direction of the signal deeper into the glowing woods. The trees curved around him, their branches whispering with static. Sometimes he thought he heard voices, soft, musical tones carried by the wind. He tried to shake it off, but a cold thought crept into his mind. Maybe I'm not alone here. On the other side of the forest, Sareen moved silently, her long blue cloak brushing against the silver roots. She carried a crystal blade, not to fight but for protection. The air felt different tonight, heavy with the scent of iron and fire. Her heart pounded as she reached the outer ridges of the forest. She had never gone this far since the sickness took her child. The ground trembled slightly and a faint orange light flickered ahead. She stopped. Through the mist she saw movement, tall, dark, unfamiliar. For a moment her breath froze. Human, old stories rushed into her mind. Her elders had told her that humans once came to Lurea 9, long ago, searching for minerals and power. But they brought destruction too. The Great Fire Wars had ended with broken cities and dead skies. Humans were spoken of as monsters. But the figure she saw was limping, tired, and alone. Elias wiped sweat from his forehead and looked around. His scanner beeped faster. The signal was very close now, and it may be within 100 meters. He lifted his flashlight. The beam cut through the mist and he froze. Someone stood ahead, glowing faintly blue under the silver leaves. They looked like no creature he'd ever seen. Tall and slender, with smooth skin that reflected light like water. Their eyes were large, bright, and full of sadness. For a long moment, neither moved. The forest went silent. Only the wind whispered between them. Then Elias spoke first. "I'm not here to harm you," he said slowly. "My ship crashed. I'm just trying to survive." Sareen didn't answer. She stared at him, every instinct warning her to run. Yet something about his voice made her stay. It was calm, tired, honest. "You're human," she finally said, her accent soft but clear. Elias blinked. "You speak Galactic?" "I learned from the sky transmissions," she said. "Long ago." He nodded carefully. "Then maybe you can help me?" Sareen hesitated. Her people would punish her for even speaking to a human. But deep in her heart she felt a pull. The same strange energy she felt near her child's grave earlier that day. "Why are you here, human?" she asked. Elias glanced at his scanner. "There's something alive nearby." "I came to check," Sareen frowned. "Alive? There is no one here?" "Except us." The scanner beeped again, louder this time. The reading came from the ground, a few 100 meters away near a cluster of glowing stones. Elias pointed. "It's coming from there." Sareen's blood ran cold. That direction led straight to the small grave she had built for her son. Without another word, she turned and began to run. Elias followed, confused but determined. The forest seemed to breathe around them, the lights pulsing faster as if the planet knew something important was about to happen. They reached the clearing, the place of the tiny grave. Sareen fell to her knees, breathing hard. The human stood behind her, silent, watching her trembling hands. "This is where my child sleeps," she whispered. Elias checked the scanner. The signal was strong, right beneath them. He knelt beside her. "Sareen, there's something under the ground." Her eyes filled with fear and hope at once. "No, it cannot be." Before he could speak, the ground trembled. A soft hum rose from beneath the soil, like a machine waking after a long sleep. The light from the flowers turned bright blue, swirling around them. Then a faint sound, a heartbeat. Sareen gasped, her tears falling freely. Elias stared, shocked, as a small beam of light broke through the dirt. Something below was moving. The night air filled with energy. The scanner flashed red. Life signal strong. Elias looked at Sareen, whose eyes were wide with trembling hope. "Your child," he whispered. "Maybe. Your child is alive." The ground cracked open slightly and a soft glow shone through. Sareen reached forward with shaking hands, and beneath the soil, something, or someone, began to breathe again. The air trembled around them. The ground cracked open, glowing from beneath like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Sareen fell to her knees, staring at the soil she had once covered with her own hands. Her heart raced so fast she could barely breathe. Her child's grave. It was moving. Commander Elias Ward stepped closer, his scanner flashing bright green now. The signal was powerful, steady, the sign of a living being. He swallowed hard. "There's something in there." he said quietly. Serene's voice shook. Not something. Someone. The soil split further, revealing a smooth crystal pod buried deep within the earth. It pulsed with soft blue light like the rhythm of a sleeping heart. Strange ancient symbols glowed along its sides, whispering in a language older than both of them. Elias touched the surface carefully. It was warm and humming with energy. It's some kind of stasis pod, he murmured. Technology this advanced. I've never seen it before. Cyrene's hands trembled. That is Lior's resting place, she said. We placed his body here when the sickness took him. Elias looked up sharply. You mean this pod was here before? Yes, she whispered. It came from the sky during the Great War. No one dared to touch it, but when my son died, the priest said it would keep him safe until the stars forgave us. She reached out, her palm glowing faintly as she pressed it against the pod. The light inside brightened, responding to her touch, then from within, a sound. A soft gasp, a child's breath. Serene's heart stopped. She whispered his name, her voice breaking. Lior. The pod shimmered, then slowly began to open. A soft blue mist poured out, swirling around them like living air. Inside lay a small figure, fragile but alive. His chest rose and fell with slow, gentle breaths. His eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly with light. Serene's tears fell freely. She reached for him with shaking hands, afraid it was a dream. My child, my bright star. Lior blinked weakly, looking up at her face, confused but calm. His voice was small, like wind through leaves. Mother? Serene's breath broke into a sob. She pulled him close, holding him as if afraid he'd vanish. The warmth of his skin was real. His heart beat steady against hers. Elias stepped back, stunned. He had seen machines revive the dead before, but never like this. There were no wires, no circuits, only light and sound, the touch of something far beyond human science. This isn't resurrection, he whispered to himself. It's preservation, some kind of energy-based regeneration field. But as he studied the symbols glowing on the pod, something cold filled his stomach. The markings, and he recognized them. They weren't alien, they were human. He stared harder. The letters were faint, worn by time, but one line was clear. Project Regenesis, Human Initiative 2178. Elias froze. No way, this tech is from Earth. Serene looked up, tears still on her face. What did you say? Elias hesitated. Your son's pod, it's human technology. Very old, maybe 100 years. It was meant to save dying life forms by rebuilding them at the molecular level. Her eyes widened. Then my child lives because of your people? He nodded slowly. Yes, but there's more. These systems don't just heal. They change what they revive. As if to prove his words, the pod let out a low hum. Lior shivered slightly in his mother's arms. His veins glowed faintly gold, not blue like other Lurians. His small hands sparked with tiny lights that danced between his fingers like static. Serene gasped. What's happening to him? Elias crouched beside them. He's different. The pod must have mixed human regenerative code with his DNA. He's not fully Lurian anymore. Serene stared at her child, fear and awe mixing in her eyes. Then what is he? Elias met her gaze. Something new. Lior looked up, his glowing eyes reflecting both their faces, human and alien. Mother, it's cold, he whispered. Serene hugged him tightly. You're safe now, my star. I won't let anyone take you. But even as she spoke, the forest around them began to react. The glowing trees flickered, their roots pulsing with the same golden light running through Lior's veins. Elias stood, scanning the area. The planet's reacting to him. He's connected to the energy field here. Serene frowned. Is that dangerous? He didn't answer. His scanner beeped again, a new signal. Multiple life signs approaching from the north. Fast, Elias's face hardened. We're not alone. Serene turned, fear flashing in her eyes. My people, they must have seen the light. If they find out your child's been revived by human tech, Elias said quietly, they'll call him an abomination. Serene stood holding Lior close. Her voice shook, but her eyes were fierce. Then we run. They disappeared into the glowing woods, leaving behind the open pod that still pulsed with blue and gold light. Far above, hidden satellites stirred awake. Human satellites, long abandoned but not forgotten. A single transmission blinked through the void. Regenesis detected. Subject active. The glowing forest stretched endlessly beneath the blood-red sky. Serene ran barefoot through the silver leaves. holding little Lior close to her chest. His body was warm, but small flickers of golden light still pulsed beneath his skin, strange and alive. Behind her, the human commander Elias Ward followed, breathing heavily, his blaster held ready. The scanner on his wrist flickered with danger signals. "They're coming," he said between breaths. Multiple heat signatures, closing fast. Serene didn't look back. "My people must have seen the light from the pod. They'll think it was dark magic," Elias frowned. "Then we need to hide somewhere they won't follow." "There is one place," she whispered. "But it's forbidden." The three of them reached the edge of the forest where the land dropped into a valley of broken stones. Half-buried towers rose from the ground like the ribs of a dead giant. The air shimmered faintly, humming with energy. "The old ruins," Serene said softly, "built by the first visitors, my human, long before the Great War." Elias stopped and looked down at the metallic remains scattered across the valley floor. Old human symbols glowed faintly on the broken walls. He recognized them instantly, the emblem of the Earth Alliance. His chest tightened. "These aren't ruins," he said. "This was a research site." Serene turned to him. "Research?" He nodded. "Project Regenesis must have started here. Your son's pod was one of their creations. They were testing life restoration tech, but the council banned it. Too dangerous." She stared at him, horror filling her eyes. "Dangerous? You mean my child?" Elias looked down. If the experiment worked on him, he's proof the project never really ended. The wind howled through the ruins. They climbed down carefully, finding shelter in a collapsed corridor. The walls still glowed faintly with old power lines that hummed like whispers from the past. Serene laid Lior on a smooth stone. The boy was awake now, blinking weakly. His eyes shone brighter, one blue, one gold. "Mother," he whispered. "The trees are talking." Serene touched his forehead gently. "You're safe, my star. Rest." But Elias's scanner beeped again, a low, urgent tone. "He's not wrong," he muttered. "The planet's reacting to him. It's like he's sending a signal through the ground." Serene looked frightened. "He doesn't know how." Elias kneeled beside Lior. "I think it's not him doing it. It's the Regenesis code. His body is part of the network now." Before Serene could respond, a voice echoed through the ruins in a deep, metallic and cold, unauthorized activation detected. Human presence confirmed. A hidden machine deep in the wall came alive, its red sensors glowing. The ground shook slightly as metallic drones, old but functional, rose from the debris. Serene gasped. "What are they?" Elias drew his blaster. "Security drones. Old Earth models. They've been sleeping here for centuries until Lior woke them up." The drone's eyes turned toward them, scanning. "Identify yourself," Elias shouted. "Commander Elias Ward, Earth Council ID, Alpha 47. The machines paused for a second, then replied, "Council authorization expired." "Year mismatch 317 years. Serene grabbed Lior. "We have to leave." The drones raised their weapons, glowing red beams ready to fire. Elias shouted, "Run!" They darted through the narrow passageways, beams of light flashing past them. The walls shook, dust falling from the ceilings. Serene shielded her child, her heart racing. Lior looked up as they ran. His small hands began to glow brighter, golden energy swirling between his fingers. The ground beneath them started to vibrate. Suddenly, the drones stopped firing. Their sensors flickered, confused. The ruins themselves began to hum and the drones froze, as if something was controlling them. Elias turned around, eyes wide. "What's happening?" Serene gasped. "It's Lior." The boy floated slightly in her arms, eyes glowing pure gold now. The walls around them shimmered, ancient carvings lighting up in waves. A deep tone filled the air, not mechanical but alive. Lior spoke softly, his voice layered with strange echoes. "They won't hurt us, Mother." And just like that, the drones powered down, falling silent. Elias lowered his blaster, stunned. "He shut them down." He connected to them like they were part of him. Serene looked at her son, trembling. "What are you becoming, my child?" Lior looked at her with calm, shining eyes. "I don't know," he whispered. "But they listened to me." The silence after was deep and heavy. The only sound was the hum of energy under their feet. Elias glanced at his scanner. Another signal had just appeared, stronger than before. Not alien, not natural human, he frowned. Someone's tracking this place. Maybe from orbit. Serene's face hardened. "Your people?" He nodded slowly. They must have detected the activation. They'll come to collect what they think belongs to them. Your son. Serene held Lior closer, her voice trembling but fierce. They will not take him. Not again. Elias looked at her, conflicted. If the council is involved, we'll need to be ready for war. She met his gaze. Then we fight together. Above them, far in the orbit of Lurea 9, a long-dead satellite flickered awake. A single message pulsed through the void. Regenesis subject located. Prepare retrieval. The night sky above Lurea 9 burned red and gold as old satellites awakened. Their ancient circuits hummed to life for the first time in centuries. High above, a hidden human ship received a message. Regenesis subject located. Retrieval protocol active. Far below, deep inside the ruins, Serene sat near a flickering wall of light. She held Lior close, his tiny body wrapped in a silver cloth. His breathing was soft, but strange patterns of light still pulsed through his veins. Not just blue anymore, but gold, shifting like fire. Elias Ward stood nearby, his scanner beeping every few seconds. The signal's too strong, he said quietly. Someone's locked onto this location. Serene looked up, fear tightening her chest. Your people? He nodded slowly. Yes, they've detected the pod. The council never destroys their experiments, they collect them. He looked at the glowing child. To them, he's not a boy. He's data. Serene's voice trembled. Then they will come for him. They already are, Elias said grimly. We might have ours. Maybe less. The ruins trembled as the planet's wind howled through the hollow towers. The energy around them had changed, intense, alive. Serene touched her son's cheek. He saved us from the machines. How can something so kind be dangerous? Elias sighed. Because he's proof that humans crossed a line, creating life between species. If the council finds him, they'll take him apart just to understand how he exists. Serene's eyes filled with tears. He is my child, not a creation. Elias nodded. I know. He looked away, guilt in his eyes. But the council doesn't see it that way. Lior stirred weakly, his voice small. Mother, someone's calling me. Serene froze. Calling you? He nodded, eyes glowing faintly gold. From the sky. They're whispering my name. Elias turned sharply toward him. That's not possible. Unless... Before he could finish, a loud thunder rolled across the sky. A golden beam of light pierced the clouds, shooting down toward the ruins. Elias looked up. Dropship incoming. Human design! They're here. The ground shook violently as the ship landed nearby, throwing up waves of dust. Its metal hull gleamed with the symbol of the Earth Council, a circle of stars around a single flame. Serene backed away, clutching her son tightly. Her heart pounded. They found us. Elias stepped forward, blocking her view. Stay behind me. I'll talk to them. The ship's ramp hissed open. 4 armored soldiers marched out, their weapons glowing white-hot. Behind them, a tall woman in silver armor stepped into the red light. Her face was calm, cold, and familiar. Elias's breath caught. Commander Vega. She smiled faintly. Ward, you survived. That's impressive. I didn't call for pickup, he said quickly. This is a restricted world. She cut him off. We received the signal. Regenesis has reactivated. We're here for the subject. Serene stepped forward, her eyes full of fire. He is not a subject. He's my son. Commander Vega tilted her head. Alien female. You must be the host. That's unfortunate. The specimen belongs to us. Elias clenched his fists. Vega, listen to me, that boy is alive. He's thinking, feeling. You can't treat him like an experiment. Vega's tone was sharp. You don't give orders anymore, Elias. Stand down. Her soldiers moved forward. Serene's heart pounded as they aimed their weapons. She held Lior tighter, whispering, Don't be afraid, my star. Then suddenly the air trembled. A soft hum filled the ruins, low at first, then louder, until the very stones began to glow. Lior's eyes snapped open, golden light bursting from them. The soldiers froze, their weapons flickering. Energy surge, one of them shouted. It's destabilizing! Lior rose slightly into the air, the same golden energy spiraling around him like wind. Stop hurting, he said softly. No more fighting. Every electronic device within sight powered down. The soldiers' helmets went dark. Their rifles melted at the barrels. Vega stumbled back, shouting, What is this? Elias shielded his eyes. He's overriding their systems. Serene reached out desperately. Lior, stop before you hurt yourself! But the child's voice was calm, too calm for his age. They wanted to take me, but I belong here, with you. The ruins flared with light, symbols from the walls lifting into the air, swirling like glowing dust. Then, silence. The light faded. The soldiers were unconscious. Vega was on her knees, her armor smoking. Lior collapsed into his mother's arms, exhausted but breathing. Elias looked around, stunned. He just shut down a full retrieval team, without even touching them. Serene cradled her son, tears falling onto his glowing skin. He didn't hurt them. He only stopped them. Elias nodded. He's not a weapon. He's something greater. But even as he spoke, his scanner beeped again. A second ship was entering orbit, larger, stronger. The Council wouldn't give up so easily. He looked at Serene grimly. They'll send more. We need to leave this planet before they destroy it to get him. Serene looked at the horizon where the sky bled with red light. Then take us away, Elias. Take us where the stars cannot find my child. Smoke still hung over the ruins. The ground glowed faintly where Lior's golden light had burned through metal and stone. The silence that followed the battle was heavy, almost sacred. Serene held her child close, feeling his heart beat against her chest. He was warm but pale, drained by whatever force had burst from within him. Elias Ward stood nearby, watching the sky. His scanner blinked red. Another ship was descending fast. We've got less than 10 minutes before the next drop, he said. This time it won't be a small team. Serene looked at him desperately. Then we must leave this world. You said you had a ship? Elias nodded. It's damaged, but if we can reach it, I might get the engines online. She stood, holding Lior tighter. Then lead the way. They ran through the silver forest again. The glowing trees whispered as if alive, their light dimming when Lior passed. His golden veins flickered softly, responding to the planet's rhythm. Elias could feel the ground vibrate with each pulse. He's connected to the world, he said. Serene glanced at him. The Regenesis code, what did it do to him? Elias hesitated. It didn't just heal him. It rewrote him. He's part of a network that links living things and machines. He can control both. Serene frowned. You mean, he's becoming something else? Elias nodded slowly. Something new. Something that scares the Council. They reached the crash site just as the horizon glowed with the light of the incoming ship. Elias's old vessel lay half buried in the dust, its hull cracked but still intact. He climbed aboard, sparks bursting as he powered up the control panel. Come on, he muttered, hitting switches. The ship groaned like a wounded beast. Then the engines hummed faintly to life. Serene stepped inside, looking around at the human technology. Cold, sharp, metallic. Your ships feel sad, she said softly. Elias gave a small smile. They miss home. Like the rest of us. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky as the Council cruiser descended. Its shadow fell across the valley, huge and silent. Elias shouted, "Strap in!" Serene placed Lior in a seat beside her and held him tightly. The child stirred, eyes flickering open. Mother, where are we going? Somewhere safe, she whispered. The engines roared, fire exploding beneath the ship as it lifted off. The ground shook violently, and the silver trees bent under the blast. From above, the cruiser fired a beam of blue light, missing them by seconds. Elias gritted his teeth. They're trying to disable the engines. Hold on. The small ship shot upward, weaving through debris and smoke. Alarms screamed as metal panels rattled loose. Serene closed her eyes, praying to the stars. Please, let him live. The sky turned from red to black as they broke through the atmosphere. Stars spread out before them, silent, endless. Lior watched them with wide eyes. They're singing, he whispered. Serene smiled weakly. What do you hear, my star? The stars, he said softly. They remember us. Elias looked at him uneasy. He's hearing cosmic signals. Raw data, maybe even memories from Regenesis satellites. Suddenly, the console beeped. A transmission blinked onto the screen. A voice cold and familiar. Commander Ward, said Vega's voice, distorted by static. You're committing treason. Hand over the specimen and we may let you live. Elias slammed a button. Not happening, Vega. Then you'll die with them, she replied. Moments later, the cruiser appeared behind them, firing plasma bolts. The ship rocked violently as explosions lit up the void. Shields failing, Elias shouted. Serene reached for Lior, panic in her eyes. Can you stop them like before? The boy closed his eyes, breathing slowly. His hands glowed gold again. Outside, the stars seemed to bend. Waves of golden energy rippled through space, washing over the cruiser. Its weapons powered down one by one. Inside Elias's ship, the systems flickered but stayed stable. He's doing it again, Elias said in awe. He's controlling the energy fields in space. The cruiser drifted powerless, its lights dying. Vega's voice cut off mid-sentence. Serene held Lior, whispering, "Rest now, my love." He nodded weakly. "I'm tired." Silence returned. The ship floated freely among the stars. Elias stared out the window, speechless. Serene turned to him. "Where will we go?" He thought for a moment. "There's an old human outpost beyond the Vega belt, abandoned decades ago. We can hide there," she nodded. "Then take us there." As Elias set the coordinates, Lior looked out the window again. "Mother," he said softly, "they'll keep coming." Serene stroked his hair. "Then we'll keep running," he smiled faintly. "Or we'll make them stop." Behind them, far away in orbit, the crippled council cruiser drifted. But inside, Vega still lived. She opened her burned helmet, staring at the empty stars where Elias's ship had vanished. Her lips curved into a thin smile. "Run all you want," she whispered. "You can't hide a miracle from the universe." She pressed a control panel, sending a final coded message across the void. Regenesis subject escaped. Phase 2 begins. The stars outside shimmered like endless eyes watching silently. Inside the small ship, Serene sat beside her sleeping child, brushing her fingers over his glowing skin. Every heartbeat pulsed with soft gold light that faded and returned. Calm, steady, alive. She had lost him once. Now she feared losing him again, not to death, but to something greater. Across the cabin, Elias Ward adjusted the controls. The old ship hummed weakly, following its path toward the Vega belt. The stars there were faint, hiding behind clouds of dust and forgotten signals. "We'll reach the outpost in 2 hours," Elias said quietly. "No council ships in range. For now." Serene looked out the window. "They will come again." "They always do," Elias sighed. "Yes, but maybe we can find out what they want before they find us." Her voice was soft but firm. "They want him." Elias didn't argue. He knew she was right. 2 hours later, the ship approached an abandoned human station, a massive ring of rusting metal, drifting slowly around a dead moon. Once it had been a research base. Now it was a graveyard of machines. As they entered the docking bay, the lights flickered weakly. Dust floated in the air like ash. Elias stepped out first, blaster in hand. "Clear," he said. Serene followed, holding Lior in her arms. The boy stirred, blinking his gold-blue eyes. "Where are we, Mother?" "A place forgotten by time," she whispered. They found a small control room still working. Screens glowed faintly, showing fragments of data, files from centuries ago. Elias wiped the dust from one display and began typing. "What are you looking for?" Serene asked. "The truth," he said simply. "Why Regenesis was created. Why they wanted to bring the dead back." The terminal flickered, then lines of human text appeared. Project Regenesis. Objective: restore life through biosynthetic fusion. Merge organic and artificial DNA to rebuild extinct or dying species. Status: abandoned due to ethical violations and unstable results. Note: prototype success achieved. Subject Alpha fused with Lurian genetic code. Subject escaped containment. Elias's eyes widened. Subject Alpha? That means, Serene finished softly, Lior. He nodded slowly. Your son isn't just a child who was saved. He is the fusion, the first perfect link between human science and alien life. Serene looked at her child, tears filling her eyes. Then he was never meant to exist. Yet he does. Elias turned to her. That's what makes him extraordinary. Suddenly the station trembled. Alarms echoed through the halls. Elias ran to the window and froze. A massive ship had entered the system. It wasn't the Council this time. Its design was older, darker, an automated warship from the ancient human wars. It had awoken after centuries of sleep. The computer spoke in a cold, metallic tone. Regenesis signal detected. Initiating purification. Serene clutched Lior tightly. They're going to destroy the station. Elias grabbed the controls. We can't outrun it. Its weapons will vaporize us. But before he could act, Lior stood. His golden light filled the room brighter than ever. Mother, he said softly, they don't understand. They're afraid of me. Serene reached for him.
Lior, no!
He smiled gently. It's okay. He walked toward the center of the room, his small hands glowing like twin suns. The lights in the station flickered. Screens went blank. Even the stars outside seemed to dim. Elias shouted, Lior, what are you doing? The boy looked back, his voice calm and ancient. Ending the fear. The warship fired, a massive beam of energy tearing through space. But before it could strike, everything froze. The beam shattered into thousands of fragments of light that turned into golden dust, spreading across the sky like fireflies. Lior floated above the floor, light pouring from his eyes. No more killing, he said, and his voice echoed across the stars. Every machine in orbit went silent. The warship powered down completely, drifting lifeless into the void. In that moment, something changed. Across systems, across networks, across minds. Lior's energy reached far beyond the station. Through old satellites, through alien networks, through the hearts of those who watched from afar. The code of Project Regenesis spread again, but this time, not as a weapon. It carried peace. Every system it touched stopped fighting, stopped attacking, stopped fearing. Elias watched in awe. He's rewriting the code of war itself. Serene fell to her knees, tears shining in her eyes. He's giving life to what was broken. The light faded slowly. Lior landed gently, breathing softly, his body dim but alive. Serene rushed to him, holding him close. He smiled weakly. Mother, it's quiet now. Yes, she whispered, kissing his forehead. You've given them peace. He looked at Elias. You too, human. Elias knelt beside him. You saved us all. Lior's golden eyes flickered one last time. Maybe now, they will remember we were one. Then he fell asleep, his light fading into soft blue. Days later, the warship was gone, drifting into silence. The Council's ships never came. Across the galaxy, strange transmissions carried a single message written in light. Regenesis complete, life restored. On a quiet moon, Serene stood beside Elias, watching Lior sleep peacefully inside a glowing cocoon of light. Neither human nor alien. But something greater, Elias whispered. He changed everything. Serene smiled through her tears. He was born from death, and gave life to the stars. The human who fell from the sky and the alien mother who lost her child found hope in each other. The child they saved, half alien, half human, became the bridge between two worlds. And in the silence of the universe, peace was born again.